in Ferguson. James Knowles is not a doctor, but he is the mayor of Ferguson, and he joins us from an undisclosed bunker. James Knowles, welcome back, Big 550 KTRS.
Thanks for having me, McGraw.
You got it. Tell us what's coming up on the ballot for April 5th.
So next week, the citizens of Ferguson will have an opportunity to go to the ballot. Not only will they have the council elections, but we have two important propositions, Proposition P and Proposition E. One is a sales tax, a half-cent sales tax, and the other is a property tax, which will be used to help fill the budget deficit the city is currently experiencing in our community.
You are in favor of both of these, correct?
Absolutely. You know, the city has lost a great deal of revenue over the past couple of years, falling sales tax revenues, falling property tax revenues. Of course, we have changed our court and police practices, so we've also seen a decline in revenues from fines and forfeitures. That's left a significant gap in our budget. We're approaching $3 million in our general fund budget that we've got to make up the difference that people expect to maintain the level of service that they're accustomed to here in our community. So this is we've made cuts. Our city staff is going to be taking a pay cut and a benefits cut along with this tax increase to fill that gap. So our staff's feeling the pain, but our residents are going to also have to kick in extra if we're going to keep up this level of service.
James Knowles, you have not been one to overstate things or to sort of throw political haymakers or make grandiose statements. What happens if these two don't pass?
Well, unfortunately, I mean, the numbers are what they are. We're going to have to take approximately 22% across the board cut. When you look at our general fund budget, 75% of that fund is public safety. And so you're talking about police and firefighters. And of that 75% of our budget, 75% of that is police and public safety salaries. And so when you look at the numbers, we're going to have to make significant reduction in force in our police and fire departments. It's going to result in the closing of one of our firehouses and essentially the laying off of approximately 12 positions in our police department.
Now, could that have an impact on the agreement with the DOJ as well?
Well, yeah. The Department of Justice agreement requires that we do a considerable amount of outreach in our community, especially as it relates to community-oriented policing. We've engaged a community-oriented policing specialist who's helped us on our staffing and what we are going to need to meet the needs of that agreement. Our staffing level right now meets the needs of the agreement. If we cut 12 positions, it's going to be really hard for our officers to go out and engage the public in the sort of proactive and positive ways that they expect us to do in the consent decree. We're just going to have a hard time meeting regular call volume. So it's very important, if we're going to be successful in this agreement, that we have the revenues to do so.
If James Knowles, mayor of Ferguson, if these two fail, is there a real possibility that the town of Ferguson goes away?
That's not something that people would like to think, but it's a $3 million deficit, and it would be a huge reduction to our services. So, I mean, at some point, people are going to have to make a decision. What are they willing to live with in the community? If they want to live in a community that provides just a very, very, very basic level of service, I've heard residents talk about wanting to disincorporate, but I don't think the vast majority of residents want that. In fact, I'm hearing a lot of people that want to support these taxes because they support our community and they want to support the service levels that they get. And they want to make sure this consent decree is, in fact, successful. So I think that's a very, very slim chance, but of course, don't want to say nothing's not a possibility.
Yeah, James Knowles, do we know how much it's going to cost the average property owner in Ferguson if this property tax is increased?
There's very, very small and very huge houses in Ferguson, so there's a range. But I mean, on the low end, you're going to see people's monthly bill go up about $3.50, all the way up to about $7 or $8 a month. So it depends, obviously, on the price of your house. The average resident on their home will probably see in the $4 to $5 range.
Yeah, and you haven't done any polling clearly on any of this, and all of your information is probably anecdotal on all this, but what is the sense you're getting from the people of Ferguson about these two tax increases?
Sales taxes always seem to be a little bit a little bit easier to pass. I think people know that they share the burden with others. It's not just on their property tax bills. Property taxes are going to be tough, and this property tax also requires a 66% threshold to pass. I have heard a tremendous amount of support for it. Visiting the fish fries during Lent,
sure,
getting out and talking to people in the community, at the parks, at our events. Even begrudgingly, a lot of people are supporting it. But we do know that there are some people out there, some people on fixed income, who would say, "Look, this is still just too much, for me to be able to handle." And of course, there's a number of landlords and people in town who rental properties that don't like the idea of an additional tax on their property. So I realize the naysayers are out there. I've heard from a few, but for the most part, it's been overwhelmingly supportive, even though, admittedly, some of them have been begrudgingly supportive.
Right. James Knowles, mayor of Ferguson. Is there any truth to the rumor that after this you're going to run for governor of Missouri?
I don't know. My wife's going to allow that.
All right, fair enough. James Knowles, thanks for checking in. Good luck April 5th.
Thank you.
You got it. 725 here, Big 550 KTRS. Open, honest, answers all the questions. Mm-hmm. It's exactly what you want in a politician, right?
Yeah.
Whether you agree with him or not, he lays it out for you.
That's
it's
right.
your choice, Ferguson. You decide.